All right, welcome back to another state test review. Today, I'm going to try to straighten this out a bit because it's bothering me how not straight it is. Today, we're talking about standard A.REI.7, still smack in the middle of the wonderful system of equation standards. So this is, if you've watched the previous videos, as I say a lot in these videos, if you're watching these in chronological order, meaning the order they're uploaded, the order they're in the playlist, this is going to feel like an incredibly repetitive standard. And it really stresses the importance on why you need to know systems of equations, because it's assessed on so many standards. If you consider that out of 40 standards, right, there's 56 questions-ish, 56 points worth of questions. There's 40 different standards, right? So if you consider that each standard gets like 1 or 2 questions each, then that means we're going to have like 3 or 4 questions of just systems of equations. So those are easy points if you know how to do it, because it requires no math. It requires the ability to type into Desmos, and it requires the ability to find the point where they intersect and click on it. So let's do that. System of equations is shown. Y equals 3x minus 2. Y equals x squared. What are the solutions? This says solutions. Note that there's more than one. It gives you the 2 boxes, so you know there's going to be more than one anyway. Let's clear these out from the last video. Y equals 3x minus 2. And y equals x squared. So you're looking for 2 solutions. Again, if you're still, clicked on one of the lines, or if you just finished typing one of the lines, it will mark the points for you where they touch. So, 1, 1, and 2, 4. That's it. Simple as that. All right. A system of equations is given. This is from the Spring 2018 OST. What is one solution? So there will be multiple solutions, but you only need one of them. So our equations are y equals x squared. Whoops, not in the cursor. Y equals x squared minus 9. And then y equals negative 2x minus 1. And we're going to figure out where they touch. Now, here's a very important thing, okay, that trips up people. Yes, I said it marks the points where it touches the other lines. However, what it also marks for you is the x and y intercept, which is a blessing and a curse, because some people might see these points and think that they're one of the answer points, but they're not. That's where they're touching the axes, okay? You need the marked point where they're touching the other line. So you can either go with negative 4, negative 7, or you could go with 2, negative 5. Whichever one you want to pick is what you go with. I'm going to go with negative 4, 7. And I'm going to lock that in, and we're going to be good. A system of equations is shown. What is the solution to the system? Again, this is another situation of they give you the graph. You just got to pick out where they intersect. Okay? This point appears to be closer to the axes, so it'll be easier for me to tell than this point. This point I'm more likely to mess up. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. So if it's 5 to the right, that means it's positive 5. And then down 1. So negative 1. 5, negative 1. That's your answer. Or, if you want to go the other point, 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 2 to the right, 5 up, 2, 5. Either one works. Okay. Question 4. Spring 2022 OST. A system of equations is given. What is one solution to the system of equations? Now, this is why reading the questions is important, because we've seen questions where they ask for both solutions and give you 2 boxes. We've seen questions where they ask you for one solution and give you 1 box. This is where they give you 1 solution but give you 2 boxes. Okay, they're giving you a separate box for x and y. So we're going to do what we always do. We're going to put it in the Desmos. Y equals x squared minus 6x. Y equals x squared minus 6x minus 15. All right, and then y equals negative 4x plus 48. And we're going to see where these cross. There's one cross here. My graph is not moving. I'm not a fan of that. So there's one cross here at 912. There's one cross here at negative 776. I'm just going to pick 912. Okay, so my x coordinate is 9, my y coordinate is 12, so I have to make sure I'm putting in 9, 12. Exactly like that. Make sure you're reading the questions. What is one solution? And they ask you for x and ask you for y. What is one solution? Question 5. A system of equations is given. What is the solution to the system? Round to the nearest hundredth. Remember, when you're rounding, you have the ones, you have the decimal point, you have the tenths, you have the hundredths, and you have the thousandths. Okay? So, I'm going to draw an arrow, decimal point. Okay? So, y equals 0.5x minus 10. Y equals x minus 2, x plus 6. Let's put these in. Y equals 0.5x minus 10. Y equals x minus 2, x plus 6. So now we're going to look for where they intersect. Here's one, and here is another. Okay? Round the coordinates to the nearest hundredth. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause for a second because I want to see how specific they are about this question. Okay, we're back. So what I was checking was when they say round to the nearest hundredth, sometimes that would mean that even if the answer is, for example, in this question, -4, -12, sometimes they'll get really specific and they want you to put it to the nearest hundredth, so you would have had to put -4.00 and -12.00, but that's not the case. They will just accept -4, -12 as the correct answer. All right. Question 6. A system of equations is given. What is one solution to the system? I mean, you've heard me do this if you've been watching these videos about 20 times by this point. But one more for the road. All right. Y equals x squared plus 6. Y equals 8x minus 10. Look for the point they intersect. Bam. I said bam. 422. 422. Done. Alright, so that's going to do it for this standard. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in class, as I'm always here to help you. And good luck on your state test.